So we are going to slowly get started. And Jerry, if you could allow anyone that were to come into the waiting room in for me, that would be awesome.
Okay.
I am not Jerry Kettlehut. I know my name says that I might be, but I don't know how to change it on my phone.
Well, we
but
both have the same shirt on.
We do, but we're almost like twins. So if you know me, I am the recreational therapist for Daring Adventures. And typically at our camping trips, I would be the campfire starter, or, you know, I would say the little pyro for our campsite. I only light the campfire though. So we are not going to be lighting anything else today besides our fire starters. Do we understand? That is our safety plug. But I actually have been the fire starter my whole life. When I was 6 or 7, I started Girl Scouts. My mom was my Girl Scout leader. So I was basically wrapped up into everything that the troop was doing because my mom was the leader. And we went camping. What was that, Tim?
Didn't say anything.
Okay, sorry. I thought you asked a question. So we went camping my first year at Girl Scouts, and it was in the winter, and it was snowing, and there was so much snow on the ground. And our goal for Girl Scouts was to go outside and just start a fire in the snow. And I want to tell you that was the most frustrating trip I've ever had, and that was the most frustrating goal I ever had to do as like a 7 or 8-year-old, is to try to start a fire in the snow. And I never wanted to do that again and fail at it so many times, because we failed over and over and over again as 7 and 8-year-olds to start this fire. And the goal was we couldn't eat dinner unless it was made on this fire. So what we did was we went back in, and our Girl Scout leaders, which was my mother at the time and someone else, and they looked at the book, and we started making homemade fire starters with whatever we had in our cabin. Granted, our cabin had a stove. So as 8-year-olds, I was like, can we just cook the soup on the stove? But the whole goal was to make fire starters. So I'm going to kind of show you what you can make fire starters with that you have at home or around you, or that you might have brought camping with you. So instead of going out and buying an expensive fire starter, or buying something, instead of reusing something that you have at home, we're going to show you the cheaper and more eco-friendly way to make fire starters. So I'm going to show you all the different things I'm using before we go into our first fire starter. Okay? So I cut up cardboard. So this is for one of our fire starters. You're going to need cardboard. I cut them up into about like 3 inches long things, and you'll see what I'll do with these a little bit later. Cotton balls. If you don't have cotton balls, what other thing could you use? Maybe you have that camping.
Tissues.
Tissues, or
Lint.
you clean up Q-tips. You can also use Q-tips. Maybe you brought some Q-tips to clean out your ears during camping to keep them out, keep all the dirt out. You're gonna need petroleum jelly. So you want 100% Vaseline. So this doesn't burn on its own. You can't light a flame to it. It's not gonna burn. But you'll see, and I'll explain to you how this is very, very, very crucial, especially for our long-lasting fire starters. And if you don't have petroleum jelly, you just need something that has petroleum jelly inside of it. It might not work completely 100%, as in it might not burn as long. It will still work and burn. It just won't burn as long because it's not 100%. If you're wondering what other things have petroleum jelly inside of them, you can use A&D ointment. It has petroleum jelly inside of it. But what's also something that you should have with you that has petroleum jelly in it at camping?
Lip chapstick.
Chapstick, yeah. So chapstick also has petroleum jelly in it. So what you're gonna really wanna see is these aren't going to be the greatest for you. You really want that 100% petroleum jelly, Vaseline, other people know it as, but this has about 50% each. So they will still work, just not as effectively. We have our typical fire starter, our magnesium block, which probably a lot of people have seen, which also has my striker on the opposite side. So it's a fire starter all in one. I just need a little striker to strike with it. So I use this a lot at camping. This is another thing that can be kind of frustrating. And we're gonna kind of talk about how we can make it easier for you and a little bit less frustrating. Cans, aluminum cans. You can use a big aluminum can. This was from a can of soup. The ones that actually work a little bit better are the smaller ones. So like if you have a cat or a dog and they have those cat foods and dog foods, you can use those cans as well. All you want to do is you make sure that they're completely dry. So what I did was take these outside, put them upside down and let them completely dry. Egg carton. These are like the base of all of our fire starters is this egg carton. You can make 12 fire starters from one egg carton. And then toilet paper rolls. This basically will keep all of our materials inside of it. And then lastly, this is mainly for my tin can fire starter. This just goes on top of all of the wax that I will show you when I pour inside of it is sawdust, or you can use wood chips. I just grabbed some sawdust from my sander. I just took the bag out and put it into a thing, and I'm just gonna pour that on top and you'll see. So I wanna start with pretty much the lowest flame and the hardest one. And then we're gonna go to the one that lasts the longest and burns the hottest. So I'm going to turn this down so that you guys can kind of see. And I've already made examples of these so that we can kind of go through it. So what I want to do is I'm going to make a bunch of these. So I want to, at first, I want to cut up all of my things. So I'm going to get some scissors. Cut it up. Okay.
Yeah, we needed some wood chips.
You guys can run around and grab your materials if you would like to get them with me, and I'm going to grab some scissors to cut this up.
There's Tim. Hi, Tim.
Hi.
You can also tear it up, actually, if you want. So I can't find my scissors. All you want are just those little cones. And if you don't have cotton balls, also you can use lint from your dryer. So that's another thing that you can save to use as well. But they kind of act just like cotton balls because that's all your cotton. If you don't have cotton balls, that's all the cotton that comes out of your clothes and the hair. And that will just burn right up.
Straight through that. Okay.
So I am breaking these apart. And now I have 6 mini fire starters. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some cotton balls.
There's some cotton balls.
Ooh.
Oh, you're right. This is really
And then
tough.
I'm going to take some lint.
Okay, grab some lint.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Sarah. Is that you? I think I heard your voice.
Yeah, that's me. I almost missed this little deal. I've been so busy this morning.
Okay. So with our cotton balls, I want you to kind of pull it apart a little bit.
Cotton ball. Oh,
And
pull it
then
apart.
you're going to take your Vaseline petroleum jelly or A&D ointment or chapstick,
Yeah.
and you're going to
Oh,
saturate and soak your cotton ball inside of your jelly. Yes, you're going to have to wash your hands after this. It gets a little bit gross. But the reason why we're pulling it apart is we want some dry cotton fibers, but we want mostly soaked cotton fibers. The dry fibers are what you're going to light on fire, and the cotton basically turns the petroleum jelly into like a candle wick, and it burns off the gas, and that's what actually burns, not the petroleum jelly, but the gas when it binds together. So that's our first fire starter, which you can also take these and make 3 or 4 of them. Like I'll show you. Let's put 2 more in there. Like I said, they're not the best.
You're making me do the icky part.
It's not the best feeling, but these are probably actually going to be one of our best fire starters. So I have already pre-made one of these. I soaked 3 cotton balls, like I did so right here. And you take the first one and you just put that one in the middle and have that one be really soaked.
I bet there's some more cotton balls.
Yeah. And then you take one of them and you really spread that apart because that one's going to have to clog the hole of the toilet paper roll.
It'll get you buying a tight pinch.
Like I said, these are all homemade fire starters that you can use recycled items
Cool.
to start your fire. And remember, we got to pull this one apart a little bit more because it's not going to fit and it will come right out of that hole, and you want it kind of to touch into it. And then we kind of have this after product. So I'm going to take this now and we are going to bring it over here. Yes, we're doing this by the sink and we're doing this in a burn-proof can. Just to kind of show you guys that these actually work. And this is the longing lasting one. This will burn for quite some time. And really what it's doing, so you can keep these in your lighter and you don't have to worry about them burning because it's not the petroleum jelly that's really flammable, but it's the cotton balls, and when you touch it, it's the gas that really does this, and this will stay. And while you're watching that and seeing how long it's going to last, I am going to kind of clean up the area. And I'm going to get my lint starters ready. So if you have any lint and you're making our fire starters, you want to get your lint ready. So for this fire starter,
See how it works? Yeah.
so I am going to watch this, but also we are going to start the next one. And you'll kind of see it in the background right there. So for this one, you're gonna want wax or from an old candle or beeswax if you want to be super more eco-friendly. It's still going. Beeswax if you want to be eco-friendly, but if you want to just recycle, you can use all of your old candles and you just melt them down. I actually just melted it down in my microwave. The better way to melt it down is to put it water into a pot and actually boil it until all of it's down and to pour it in. but I make do with what I have, and it works just fine. If you don't have wax, you can use coconut oil, as it's something that goes from liquid to solid, and it still kind of burns the same way. As you can see, we are still going back there, and this is the hottest flame that we have so far. And it's just the top. The bottom even hasn't even started to light yet.
Oh.
Wow.
Alrighty, so for these ones, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our lint.
I got that. Isn't that cool?
And we're going to put our lint into our little comb, so it just gets the bottom of it.
That is really cool.
Okay, once we're done with putting the lint in the bottom of them, we are going to take, I'm going to take coconut oil because it's safer than candle wax, and I'm go for the environment. But I'm going to use my candle wax because I need more of it for my other fire starter. So I melted this in the microwave. You can put coconut oil in the microwave because typically it comes in a solid room temperature. And you're going to just pour the coconut oil over top of the lint. Sorry, my dog would like to say hello.
Lint? Hi.
Oh, hello, dog.
Alrighty, so we now have these. So what
Not
I
yet.
do with these, so these need to sit for a little bit because that was liquid. So the liquid needs to become solid again. So what I do is I put these in the refrigerator, or I put these in the freezer if I need them right away, or I can just let them sit at room temperature. And if the house is still cold, it should solidify, and it should basically kind of look like a candle wax over top of the fire starter. So I'm going to bring you back to our fire starter that's still going. And I'm going to show you this one. So this is the other one that I just took out of the freezer, since I made one basically last night for you guys, so you can kind of see it. So I'm going to put this video right here.
Good.
So this one takes a little bit more to light, but once that middle gets lit, it's going to be hot for a very long time. So it takes a little bit more for it to flame up and get to its full flame.
Sarah, can you lower your camera a little?
Hey. Hey, Marianne.
Hi.
Hi.
That's cool.
Hi, Sammy.
So as you see, our first fire starter is still burning, and our second one is on its way.
Sammy's first one is still burning too.
Yeah. Good job, Sammy.
Cool.
Alrighty, so we're gonna go back over to our workshop, I would call it. So if you want to make one kind of like the cotton ball one and you only have Q-tips, I want to give you guys kind of a tip. So I cut the little sides of it so that it's smaller compared to like a regular size one.
Yes.
That way, I'm going to put my fires out.
T
Let's go here right now.
R. There you go.
Alrighty, so you can see now when I put it in there, how the Q-tips are out.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
So this helps you with one, dipping it because one kind of, I think Melody said it, it's gross, right? So this helps you with dipping the cotton balls and getting the cotton tips. But the difference between this one and the one filled with the cotton balls is this one has less cotton, right? So it's going to burn up faster compared to this one that's completely filled with cotton. So that's the difference. And then you can see with this, a little bit less mess, you can just dip it and then dip it.
Look at that.
No mess, no messy hands, less messy.
Jean,
And then
you're
what do
gonna
you-
do
what do you-
Q-tips for your birthday candles.
What was that, Melody?
What do you do with it then? Put it in like a plastic bag or something until you need it?
Yeah, and they are not flammable unless you light it on fire because the petroleum jelly isn't flammable until it's bind with the cotton and it's put on fire.
Got it.
Alrighty, we're going to our third one. And that is our metal tin can.
Oh, wow, I got one of those.
Now you can use your soup can, you can use a small can. Let me see if I have any other sizes. Like a thinner, mine's thicker, you can use it shorter. The shorter ones actually work better in terms of those tiny little fire starters. So what I do is I take my cardboard and I roll.
Oh. Yeah, good cardboard.
And I roll it up just like this. And it's okay if it unexpands because I want it to, because I'm going to put more of it in there. So I'm going to shove it in there, and then I'm going to make the hole in the middle bigger. So then I'm going to take my second one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna let you roll this. Okay, roll it.
Sarah, is there Vaseline on the cardboard?
No, we're going to get through there. We're going to get there.
Okay.
Keep
Okay.
going.
So I got that hole in the middle. So I'm going in there, putting it in. All right, I still have more. So I want it to be completely filled with cardboard. And I just got this from an Amazon box. So you can just use whatever box you have.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
Wow.
Pictures of you.
And then you can kind of see it, how it's all full.
Keep working.
So this is kind of what it will look like all full. Now I'm going to, you can either take coconut oil, old candles, or if you want to be extremely eco-friendly and not only recycle, but also care about some of the chemicals that are going into it, you can use beeswax as well. So there's no aromas or anything like that from your other candles. I actually use citronella candles because not only does it burn, but it also keeps away the bugs.
Smart. Smart.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my candle, I put a hot hand warmer on it, and I'm going to put it in my microwave. If you have a stove and a double boiler and you want to do it in your double boiler, you definitely can. But the microwave works just fine. So what I do is I microwave that wax, let it get a little bit hot and runny so it's just like oil, and then I will put it inside of my can. So I have all my melted, here, you can see it,
I need the picture of that.
all my
Wow.
melted stuff. And I'm going to slowly just dribble it all in there.
Wow.
This way? Perfect.
And if you use a candle, the wax actually dries a lot faster.
All we see is your arm, Sarah.
I see your arm again.
There we go. Cool.
So if you use it, it will dry a lot faster because you can kind of see that the candle's already drying inside of the candle because it's getting a little bit lighter. So now we have basically a bunch of candle wax. And what I do now is I like basically turn it up and let it kind of go to the side because I want it to be all over all of the
Cool idea.
cardboard. Yeah. And then, so you have your old candle, which is typically in your old candle. Does anyone know what's in your old candle at the bottom of it when it's all melted? The
Wax?
wick.
Wick.
So
Oh,
you can get the wick out. So that wick becomes part of your fire starter. And you take the wick and you shove it in your fire starter. And now it's basically like a candle.
Look at that.
wow.
And what you can do later is you can take wood chips or that sawdust that I used from my sander, and you basically put it all on top. So as you can see, it's all on top.
Yeah.
So then you shake it up, get that in there. This one is already completely full with wax because I made it yesterday. And to get this, you're gonna want to get this to completely solidify so you can use it. You're gonna wanna put this in the refrigerator or let it cool so that it basically solidifies again, the wax does. And you can use paraffin wax or anything. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to take this over to our little fire pit that we have going on over here.
Wow.
We are going to light it on fire.
There she goes.
Yeah, that's it.
So cool.
So basically this will be a candle and it will be lit on fire for a while. And once it gets all the way down in there, you're gonna have a very, very hot fire in that metal can that you'll be able to basically put all your wood and kindling over. So I'm going to let that sit. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit while we talk about our actual fire flints. And I just wanted to remind you again, you can make these lint things, the ones with the lint, also with the wax. You can just put the wax on top of it. All right. Has anyone seen me start a fire with one of these before?
I've got one, Sarah.
You got one too? I think
Yes,
Tim
I
has
do.
one as well. Has anyone seen me fail at starting a fire with one of
I
these?
have.
So, I love these, but they're not foolproof. That's why I really do stick with the cotton balls, because in the petroleum jelly, because they really like if I can't get a fire started, those are gonna get the fire started. So we're slowly working our way over to the cardboard. I just wanted to let you know on that one, a little update. So what I do for this one is, what do I typically have to use on top of my magnesium or below my magnesium? That's what this is, which is a mineral that burns and helps.
You need a
you burn.
stacking, whatever.
Usually put a napkin underneath it.
I do. I typically put a napkin underneath it. So if I was super smart, I could just bring my little cartons, fill the bottom with magnesium, fill it up with a little bit of lint, because I typically use what? Pine needles, I think it is what I put it on, or pine cones. Well, I just want you guys to kind of see this tin can.
Nice.
Wow.
So what you do with this is magnesium. So you're going to take your camping knife, and if adult could do that, that would be awesome if you have one. And you're going to basically carve away magnesium until it's a really, really small pile. And you want a lot, a decent amount. As you can kind of see, I'll show you on this one, there's a lot. So this is compared to all the ones that we've already created today, this is the one that is the least effective. So, and it's the least effective because it doesn't like to start very often, and the wind affects it, and it doesn't really have a huge combustible gas behind it or chemical behind it to really light it. So that's why it's so important that I put that kindling and all those pine cones on top of it, because that's really what is creating the fire, not so much the flint stick.
Yeah. Marianne.
Wow.
So let me just show you what's going on in my metal can over here. We got like a full-on bonfire over here.
Wow.
And this can will literally burn for hours. But I am going to put it out now.
Sarah, you know what's another good option? Just like the fire strikers.
Yes.
Like if you're, it's like probably not only if you have it, but I've seen YouTube videos where people just take a 9-volt battery and some Brillo and they just flick it, and it sort of like shoots off little fire things like
The sparks.
sparks, yeah. And
Yeah. So typically what I would do when I would light these, I'm going to grab my lovely hot hand, and so I can grab my metal can because that's hot.
You want to be on?
And my fire pit one more. So typically I would put my fire starter in here. We lost Melody, so I let her back in.
Thank you.
And I would, so mine has a striker on the back end of it. So you use the flat end of your knife and you, I don't know, yeah, you can. And I would strike it.
come on, Sarah, you can do it.
Yeah. Actually, I did light it on fire. Okay, sweet. So you can see that it is lighting on fire. It's a little bit sideways, but this is the one, and you'll see, this is, watch it, it will go out very soon and compared to all the other ones. We'll see how long this one lasts. So it's a lighter flame, it's less hot, and it burns a lot weaker compared to all the other homemade fire starters we make. But you can kind of see the magnesium still keeps sparking up.
Wow.
So
Marianne.
I have one more fire starter for you today, but I found it last night, so we can't do it today or light it on fire. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I made it and what it is, and then I'm going to post a video on our Facebook of the fire starter to kind of show you guys what happened to it. But if you have any old corks that you may have, if you have adult beverages and you have corks, then you can put all of these corks and you soak them into rubbing alcohol. It has to be 70% at least rubbing alcohol, and you put them all in there, and then you let it soak. So mine's only been soaking because I found this out because I was looking for any cooler ones that I don't know, and I just found this out last night. So it's only been soaking for 24 hours. So it needs to be soaking for 3 days is what I was told. So I'm gonna show you whether we found a bogus one from the internet or whether this is a brand new cool one. And I actually probably will like it a little bit better because it's 70% and you can fill it with as many corks as you want. So it could literally make like half of a bottle of rubbing alcohol could literally make like 20 fire starters. So, or as long as you have a big enough bottle to soak them all in for as long as you want. So that is my
So Sarah, it
segment.
said to soak those for 3 days?
3
It said to
days.
soak 3 days?
That's what that
Wow.
was the consensus over all of the internet, because I like looked around because I don't like to try stuff that doesn't work. So I looked around and all of them said about 3 days they need to soak into rubbing alcohol.
So they must store them in that same jar then to use them.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Cool.
Most of them are really, really big jars, and they're filled all the way to the top too, and they're soaking. Because if you kind of can see, like, get it away from my nose. If you can see, like, this cork isn't fully submerged,
Oh yeah.
and I think that if I were to put all of these in here, at least one of them would be fully submerged. You know? Yeah. See,
Yeah.
that bottom one's definitely fully submerged now. So that is my segment on Firestarters. Does anyone have any questions? Maybe they made a fire starter that was different than mine.
Yeah, Sarah, I have a book actually called Build the Perfect Bug Out Bag, and they go over a lot of what you went over today.
That's awesome. I would love to. It's a bug out bag?
No, it's this book right here.
Let me see it. Hold
Can
on.
you see?
I'm looking for you.
Sarah, you don't have your video on.
I don't?
No.
All right, how do I get the video on?
You hit the video button. It looks like a camera or a video recorder.
I see it.
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Build the perfect bug out bag. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What else is in that book?
There's a segment in it for people with disabilities.
That's super cool.
No,
I
I'll
would
show you a
love
little
to read
something
it.
here, okay? Do
Hi,
you see this
Catherine.
guy in the wheelchair right there? He's got a
Yeah.
bag on the back of his wheelchair.
I do see
Oh.
it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to take a look at that book. Does anyone have any other questions, or maybe I made another fire starter that they want to tell me about?
I thought about rubbing 2 sticks together and then fill them with the cotton.
The rubbing the 2 sticks together.
I think so.
Tim kind of talked about, what is it called again? I've never used it.
A bow drill.
A bow drill.
I
But
think
that
it's like,
typically has string on it, and
yeah,
they're like rubbing the string and the stick together to try to make something.
yeah. It looks like a bow and arrow, but it has a piece of string and a stick in it. Sort of.
Sammy, what
Sure,
was your
Tim.
favorite one?
My favorite? What was your favorite one?
Um,
The one with the toilet paper roll.
the toilet
She
paper
made
roll,
that
that
one.
was mine too. I
Yep,
think
she
that
made
my
that work.
favorites are the ones that burn really, really hot and burn for a really long time, because I know it's not going to go out.
Sammy,
were
show us the ones that you made. Pick them up and show us. Sammy?
Show 'em.
Yeah.
See the camera right there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Fine, here it
And
comes.
also, you can
There you
make
go.
these little cups
Good.
with a lot of different things. So say you don't have what we have today and you have paper. You can take a piece of paper and cut it up into little shreds. Or if you have a paper shredder, just put it through your paper shredder. Take that paper and put it in here and put wax over top it, or coconut oil. Does the same thing. You can use wood chips. You can just fill it completely with sawdust. And then you can also add little flowers, lavender and stuff like that to make it aroma too. I've seen on the internet as well.
And you use this to light charcoal?
I'm not sure. I've never even actually tried to light charcoal, but I'm guessing that this one would be, if you could put charcoal on top of this, and it would be able to light charcoal. But my favorite in like an emergency situation would be petroleum soaked cotton balls with your flint, because if they don't, they will actually burn up faster with my flint than that magnesium stick will. As long as you pull that cotton ball apart instead of soaking all of it, and make sure there's a little bit of dry fibers left.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys. We are almost at our social time. So does anyone have any other questions to me? And if you guys don't, we can kind of transition into social time.
Well,
Happy
no, but this-
birthday, Jean.
Thank you.
Birthday, Jane.
Marianne, you and I got the ones with the corks down, don't we?
Yeah,
Wow.
Jerry too.
I got a whole drawer full of corks.
Well,
I
now we have
typically
to
use my corks for
them.
art. I will actually super glue them all together and like make wreaths and stuff like that. Granted, I don't drink any wine, so I don't actually have any corks. These are only 3 corks that I own, and they're like from years away. But yeah, you can use corks for many different things, and I always encourage you guys to recycle instead of going out and buying your own fire starters, because fire starters can be really, really expensive, and you don't always know what exactly is in fire starters. And there could be other chemicals that are more hazardous to the environment in fire starters that you get at the store.
Wow.
I've also seen where you take those little muffin papers and you put them in like a muffin tin and you use that for the wax to hold it.
Yeah. They didn't have wax paper, and someone used a Reese's cup. Recycled the Reese cup little holders. Yeah.
Hey, Catherine, did you have a question? We can't hear you, Catherine.
Technical difficulties. So this is kind of where we open it up for social times and allow you guys to kind of talk with each other about anything, and allow you guys to just connect with each other.
Thank you, Sarah. Great job.
Yeah,
Thanks, Sarah.
Great job.
Thank you. And I hope that we can all go camping soon together, and we can use some of these fire starters.
Me too.
Has
Yeah, I
anyone
love
gone camping
camping.
this summer?
What?
Has anyone gone camping this summer?
No,
No.
But I missed it.
Me too. But you went camping in your room, didn't you, Sarah?
Yeah, I did, but it's kind of, I don't know, I kind of got hooked on the Grand Canyon.
I know. I'm pretty hooked on the Grand Canyon too, and I'm kind of sad that we can't go.
We should see if we could rent out any of those yurts at the Nordic Center.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, our activities, we're looking at starting our activities up, towards the end of October, and then in November with kayaking at Tempe Town Lake, and then cycling there at Telephone Pioneer. So we're looking forward to that, and we're working on, all the procedures right now on how to do that safely for the participants, volunteers, and staff.
Yeah.
So Sarah and I will be so glad to get back to conducting activities. And it's going to look a little bit different, for a while yet. It's going to be more of a one-on-one, you'll schedule a time and so forth. Or it could be, with your family, a small little group. But unfortunately, just because of social distancing, we're not able to take out a whole group like we have in the past. But it will happen in the future. None of us are sure yet when. So just
But
look
until
forward
then,
to
we can
things.
still have our virtual adventures. And we're going to
Yeah.
have some pretty awesome virtual adventures coming up. next week we have one of my really awesome friends who actually performed at Ability 360 during their adapted CrossFit competition. And she got in a car accident and she had an incomplete spinal cord injury and she had a daughter. So really she decided that she had to do something so that she could be able to take care of her daughter, pick up her daughter, and be that awesome mom that she wanted to be. So she got in contact with the Adapted Training Foundation, which I'm really excited that I'm hopefully going to have that founder kind of come in and talk about that, because that foundation is in Austin, Texas, and has opened up lives for many people. And then she's also competed in the CrossFit Games on an adapted level, and she's going to talk about adapted CrossFit at the CrossFit Games and at a professional level. And then we have River Rampage and Mainstream Expedition, rafting the rivers through the years in the River of Dream with Tim, our founder, and Wheat, and Carol Gary, who also was a staff member way back when we had our first river trips. And they're going to talk about the very first river trip for people with disabilities. How important was it? How it came about? The history of it. And then they're going to give their own personal experiences of how it has impacted them. As long as Tim, he's going to give his journal experience recounting the days of his trip. And then we're going to have actually a Paralympic athlete that is going to Tokyo 2020. And he plays goalball. And he will be on and talking about how they just started training again for Tokyo 2020, which is actually going to be in 2021 because of the pandemic, how the pandemic has affected the Paralympics and how he got into goalball. He's also a rec therapist. So he's also going to talk about, as he's blind and visually impaired, and he's going to talk about being a rec therapist, being a Paralympic athlete, and then being a health admin. And then finally, we're hopefully going to get Central Arizona Mountain Rescue on, and they're going to be talking about how they rescue people from the tops of the mountains and all of their emergency preparedness stuff.
Cool.
So those are going to be the next Tuesdays. It's always going to be on Tuesdays this month. So make sure that you join us so that you can see everything that we've got going on.